अभी खड़े हो जाओगे? आप आ जाओ, कार्तिक आ जाओ। Sometimes there's no one else who loves me like you used to. Sometimes we're not ourselves. There's no one I can turn to. And I know कोकिला मैम आए हैं, चेताली मैम थाने पे ये आ चुके हैं। मैम ये नेशनल इंदिरा फिल्म होने के बाद तो आप पहले ही बच्चे को खड़ा रखो, दो बच्चे को। चलो इंदिरा फिल्म ये नेशनल सैपलिंग कब देना? सैपलिंग पहले ही देना है, पहले ही मैम। चलो मैं मार्क कर दूँ।
हेलो
Requesting everyone to settle down, we'll begin now.
Welcome, new batch, to Paths
Recording in
Untold,
progress.
where hope is bright and dreams unfold.
Aspiration stirs in eager hearts, a journey new where each step starts.
Through late night studies and friendships new, with every test a breakthrough.
Aiming high, you will touch the sky. On wings of hope, you will soar, you will fly.
So take this time, embrace every day. Let passion be your guiding way. On this note, a very lovely morning, good morning to one and all. On behalf of the Indira School of Business Studies PGDM, I, Aditya Mehrotra,
And I, Diksha Vaksaude,
student of Batch 2325, welcome to you all to the 19th induction program,
INITIUM 2024, the Launchpad. We very warmly welcome our dignitaries for today, our chief guest, Mr. Yashwant Mahadik, President of Global Human Resources and Co-Lead Business Transformation Office, Lupin Global, and our guest of honor, Mr. Akhil Menocha, Vice President, Enterprises and Global Capability Centers, CAST Software. Next, we have Ms. Chetali Talele, Chief Financial Officer, Evonik India Private Limited. And next we have Ms. Kokila Roy, Global Digital Transformation Head and Account Executive, GEP Worldwide. A huge round of applause.
We are also delighted to welcome Dr. Pandit Mali, Chief Executive Officer, IGI, Mr. Sandeep Gaikwad, Chief People Officer, IGI, Ms. Madhuri Sate, Corporate Relations, and Mr. Raji Thomas, Chief Corporate Relations and Outreach Officer, IGI, Honorable Trustees, Directors, Deputies of IGI, faculty and staff members, and the batch of 24-26.
Before we proceed with our event, Mali sir and Sandeep sir, can we please request you to welcome our guests with a sapling? First we have our chief guest, Yashwant sir. Our guest of honor, Akhil sir.
Next, we have Kokila Roy, ma'am. Next, we have Chetali, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Let us begin this wonderful morning. Our clear and compelling vision charts our course, inspiring us to dream big and aim high. Values are the core of our efforts, defines our purpose, and give our work significance. Embracing velocity, it's not just about speed, but also about agility and responsiveness. Together, these principles empower us to reach new heights and achieve our goals. Let's embrace vision, value, and velocity. That is the theme for our Induction 2024, united in purpose and driven by passion.
At Indira, students are encouraged to dream big and prepare themselves for both the present and future by equipping them with skills essential at a global scale. Indira School of Business Studies PGDM is committed to providing students with an environment to enable them to flourish and reach new heights of successes.
Dear future managers, let us assure you that you have taken the right decision to begin your PG journey with a trusted organization. If there is anything you should be feeling right now, it shall be excitement and enthusiasm. You are in good hands.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today, we stand at a pivotal moment in our nation's history. From the recent successful launch of Chandrayaan-3 mission to the inspiring achievements of our athletes on the global stage, India continues to showcase its spirit of innovation, resilience, and unity. It is a time to celebrate our rich heritage and the promising future that lies ahead. With immense pride and patriotism, let us now rise for the national anthem.
Jana Gana Mana Adhinayaka
Jaya He Bharat
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, everyone. Please take your seats.
Starting today, I need to forget what's gone, appreciate what still remains, and look forward to what's coming next. Students, a little step may be the beginning of a great journey, and we took our first little step in the year 1994. Since its founding in 1994, the Indira Group of Institutes has consistently garnered acclaim for delivering value-based education tailored to the needs of the corporate world. By fostering ideas of the academic excellence, IGI has inspired faculties as well as students for excellence. Today, the IGI has inspired to gain new success and to grow in their careers.
The Indira Group of Institutes marked 30 years of excellence, innovation, and growth in education on September 5, 2023. Over the past 3 decades, our journey has been both remarkable and inspiring, dedicated to empowering minds and transforming lives. As we look into the future, we are excited about the vast potential for the continued development through Indira at 40. Under the visionary leadership of Dr. Tarita Shankar Ma'am, IGI is poised for a dynamic future.
Indira, an organization driven by unwavering determination and guided by the visionary leadership of Dr. Tarita Shankar Ma'am, we have achieved remarkable success. With a network of 13 institutes, we proudly offer education to more than 16,000 students across diverse disciplines and levels.
For 30 years, Indira has been at the forefront of revolutionizing the education landscape, transforming the lives, careers, and outlooks of countless students who have become a part of our illustrious family.
We extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to all the students for joining the Indira family on this incredible journey. Before we move ahead, we would like to show you an AV that will take you through Indira's journey. Thank you all.
Lighting up the lamp is a sacred Indian tradition symbolizing the triumph of knowledge over ignorance and darkness. It is a revelational gesture performed to invoke blessings and illuminate the path of wisdom. I request Mali sir to please lead the dignitaries for the ceremonial lighting of the lamp.
माता सरस्वती शारदा माता सरस्वती शारदा हे माता सरस्वती शारदा विद्यादानी दयानी दुःखहरिणी जगत जननी ज्वालामुखी माता सरस्वती शारदा हे माता सरस्वती शारदा विद्यादानी दयानी दुःखहरिणी जगत जननी ज्वालामुखी माता सरस्वती शारदा हे माता सरस्वती शारदा
Thank you, dignitaries. We request you to please take your seats. Thank you all.
Today, we embark on a journey that harmonizes with nature's own rhythm, exploring the beauty and power of earth, water, fire, and air. Each movement and gesture will evoke the essence of these elemental forces, transforming our stage into a vibrant design of nature's wonders. Students of ISBS PGDM have prepared an amazing semi-classical group dance to welcome you all. So let's call upon the performers on the stage, please.
वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा
बन के साथ साथ के आओ रे सजनी सखी लाओ रे उमंग सखी चल 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 गूंजेगी आज मुरली की धुन मन मगन मगन हो करके आज नाचेगी बन के साथ साथ के आओ रे सजनी सखी लाओ रे उमंग सखी
पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति.
That was so graceful. Thank you to the group for your beautiful performance. Now, please allow us 2 minutes to set up the stage.
request Raji sir to lead the dignitaries to the dais, please?
May I request Dr. Shikha Sindhu, Deputy Director ISBS PGDM, to formally welcome the audience.
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you, Diksha. You're doing a good job. So, good morning, one and all. It's my honor and privilege to stand in front of such an august audience and be able to express my gratitude towards these amazing stalwarts for accepting our invitation and making you available with us today for our induction program for the batch of 24-26. Our chairperson and chief mentor, Dr. Tarita Shankar, couldn't be here today with us on account of some pressing engagements, but we are always aware that we have ma'am's blessings and best wishes with us, and that's, I won't say that's enough, but that's super important to us, and then we understand her other engagements too. Head of our institution, Dr. Kumendra Raheja, he's battling some medical conditions, and that is why sir couldn't be here in this auditorium today, but had he been here, I'm sure he would have been super excited and super happy to meet people like you. On behalf of family of Indira Group of Institutes and ISBS PGDM, with sheer happiness in my heart, I express a heartfelt welcome to our chief guest and keynote speaker, Mr. Yashwant Mahadik, President, Global Human Resources and Co-Lead Business Transformation Office, Lupin Global. Our guest of honor, Mr. Akhil Minocha, welcome sir, Akhil Minocha, Vice President, Enterprise and Global Capability Center, CAST Software. Ms. Chaitali Talele, hello ma'am, Chief Financial Officer, Evonik India Private Limited. Kokila ma'am will be joining us soon. She's not here at the moment. I also extend welcome to the family and friends of guests accompanying them. And of course, on behalf of ISBS PGDM, we are thrilled to have some of our very own, Dr. Pandit Mali, Chief Executive Officer, Indira Group of Institute, Sandeep Sir, Chief People Officer, IGI, Madhuri Ma'am, Advisor Corporate Relations, IGI, and of course, Raji Sir, Chief Corporate Relations and Outreach Officer, IGI, Directors and Deputies seated in the auditorium, my colleagues, and dear friends. Students, this PG journey of yours is the most crucial step in getting ready, getting trained for the corporate world. For you, nothing can be bigger and better than the opportunities to hear from and get inspired from these amazing professionals such as our guests of today. I do not want to come in between you and the pearls of wisdom that you are going to receive from the guest of today. But however, this being an important day, I want to share a small story with us, hoping that you will learn an important lesson out of this story. So you know him by any chance? I expect you to know him. Recognize the picture. Yes, ma'am has identified. Okay, guys, I'm sure you, if you don't recognize the face, at least you must have heard about him. It's Ramkrishna Paramhans, Guru of Swami Vivekananda. Ramkrishna was a great devotee, ardent devotee of Kali, goddess Kali. He considered Kali his mother, and he was all the time in devotion and love with Ma Kali. his consciousness was filled with thoughts of Kali. His consciousness became so crystallized that when he prepared food, the form of Kali would appear in front of him and eat food with him. She ate from his hands. You know what? The food on the plate was actually getting empty. This was not his imagination. This was actually happening with him. Crystallized consciousness is just created. Just makes it happen the way it is known to him. She came when he called and left him drenched in ecstasy. Whenever he sat for meditation, Kali would appear in front of him and he would start dancing out of sheer joy. The happiness, the kind of happiness that nothing else would ever give to him. One day, he was sitting on the banks of Hooghly River, and that is when a great yogi, a rare yogi, very few like him have ever been born, sage Totapuri, happened to pass by the same path. And he saw Ramakrishna dancing, drenching in ecstasy. But he could see that this was not just love. This was not just love for his mother. This was a bondage that was stopping him from growing, a bondage that was stopping him from realizing his true potential. One day, though Ramakrishna's body, mind, and emotions were drenched in ecstasy, but somewhere there was this awareness that this bondage was not good for him. This bondage was hindrance in this growth. You know, we all of us, we have this small spot of awareness in us, even in moment of extreme emotions. Let's say anger. When we are angry, very angry, even in that moment of anger, which is extreme emotion that you are experiencing, we all have that small spot of awareness that whatever I am saying in this moment of anger is not right, but still we do it. You know why? Because we empower our emotions. We invest in our emotions and not in the awareness. Right? And at the same thing Ramakrishna was doing. He was investing in his emotions of love and not his awareness. So Totapuri said to him, if you want to achieve what you are actually capable of achieving, which is true enlightenment, very few have achieved it, by the way. So which is true entitlement, you have to cut your bondage with Kali. You have to cut Kali. And that is when you will, reach that height. Ramakrishna said, okay, I'll try. I'll try to go away from my bondage and, raise the conscious awareness in my head and heart. So he sat for meditation. The same thing repeated again. Kali came in front of him and he forgot all about awareness and he started dancing with ecstasy, dancing in joy. Okay, and then he came to the consciousness and then he realized that he didn't really live up to the promise. So Totapuri said, try it again, do it one more time. So Ramakrishna tried it one more time. Now this time, again Kali appeared. This time when he was just on the edge of getting into ecstasy, what Totapuri said, he picked up a piece of glass and cut Ramakrishna's forehead really, really deep. In that moment when he felt the cut, I forgot to tell you an important thing. Ramakrishna said, okay, how I cut my bondage with Kali? He said, you cut Kali with a sword. Ramakrishna said, where do I get the sword from? Totapuri said, from the same place that you get the Kali from, your imagination. Your imagination. That is where you are getting the Kali from, same place you get the sword from. It's simple, it's easy equation. Okay, coming back to this episode of meditation. So Ramakrishna Totapuri cut Ramakrishna's forehead really deep. And in that same moment, he took out a sword. You can see the picture. He took out the sword out of his imagination and cut Kali. And in that moment, he became from Ramakrishna to Ramakrishna Paramhans. the Ramakrishna Paramhans that we all have read so much about, have heard so much about. Students, what I wanted to say to you is, you will be having bondages, rather many bondages. It can be in any shape and form. One-sided friendships, love, alcohol, any addiction that you may have, your phone, Instagram, constant urge to keep checking how many likes you have got. So identify your bondages and always know that the path of growth will unfold only when you cut these bondages that you have, if you really want to cherish the beautiful gifts that you have called life. Thank you so much. And once again, a very warm welcome to all the dignitaries on the dais, off the dais.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your words. It was indeed a really great start to the day, and I'm sure everyone took her story and is going to learn something out from it. So thank you once again for that, ma'am. Moving forward, I now request intellectually stimulating and inspiring Dr. Pandit Mali, Chief Executive Officer, IGI, to address the audience with your valuable insights.
Good morning, one and all. Honorable dignitaries on the dais, Mr. Yashwant Mahadik, President, Global Human Resources, Lupin Global, Mr. Akhil Minocha from CAST Software. We have Ms. Chaitali also, the next speaker here. Our own Madhuri ma'am, Raji sir, Sandeep sir, all directors, faculty, colleagues, my student friends. At the outset, once again, I welcome you all to this induction program of Indira School of Business Studies, PGDM. And I also thank the chief guest and the guest of honors for making it. It's a Saturday, sir. I know it's a holiday, but thank you so much for being with us. Well, I know that it's an exciting journey for you all. It's an exciting day for you all. And as the Chief Executive Officer of the group, let me promise to you that you're absolutely in safe hands. I think the comparators also said this a few minutes back. And why I say this is because I had been teacher. I probably don't go to the classes very regularly. And all my faculty colleagues sitting here who are going to be mentoring you, who are going to be coming to the class, we are all aware and conscious about one thing for sure, is that every day, every time you come to the campus, we all know that when you're sitting in the class, that class of 60 students is investing probably an X amount every day. The faculty standing in the classroom knows that you are all investing X, 60 into X amount, it could be 2,000, 3,000 per day. And we are all aware how important that 1 hour is. We are also aware that it's not just the money, but you have decided to invest your 2 years with us. Each faculty going to the classroom knows that these 60 students sitting in the class are investing 60 hours with that faculty. We are conscious about it. And therefore, we will deliver only the best in the classroom and out of the classroom. That's a promise that I am making here. And you will see that in days to come. We are also aware that it's not just those 60 students who are sitting in the classroom and watching us. You are here with your dreams. You are also here not only with your dreams, but with the dreams of your father, with the dreams of your mother, of the dreams of your sister and brother. Am I right? And we are all aware of that. And we kind of see in each of the classroom, those 60 students are also sitting with those 1 into 4, probably 240 people who are looking at that faculty with those dreams, with those aspirations and with those expectations. And we are all aware of this, we are conscious about it. So rest assured that you will get the best. That's a promise that I would like to make here. Well, when you come and invest your 2 years here and your money here, it's also equal responsibility of yours to take back the best from here. Am I right? So those, your parents, your brothers and sisters that the faculty is able to see in the classroom are also watching you as to how much you're giving from your side in that 1 hour. And you need to be aware of that. You need to be aware of that money being invested by your parents. You need to be aware of this fact that out of that 100 years of your life, you're spending and investing these 2 years here. And these 2 years are just not 2 years, these are very crucial years. It's a turning point for you. 2 years hence, you're going to pursue your career. You won't have any time to think about anything else but the career. That 10 hours, 12 hours of the pressure will engage you all the time. And therefore, during these 2 years, please also try to learn how to balance everything in life. Business management will be taught to you, and you will keep learning that during your journey. But during your busy hours, when you go to the corporate or you become an entrepreneur, you may not have time to develop that habit of balancing everything. We all know that eating nothing is not good. We need to eat so that our body, generates that energy. We also know that eating too much is also not good, correct? Less sugar is not good, but too much of sugar is also not good. Am I right? Same way, we need to be aware that living too much in future is not good. Am I right? But over exploiting the presence is also not good. Am I right? We need to invest some time for future also. And today you're sitting here, you're going to invest these 2 years to build your future. Thinking too much about the future is also not good, and therefore every day, at the end of the day, ask yourself whether you have enjoyed that day or not. Because finally, what are we building this future for? So that we can enjoy every day, so that we can enjoy the presence. Am I right? Every day in the future is going to be a presence, and that's what you want to enjoy. Develop that habit of balancing everything. You'll have too much of pressures of relationships, pressures of academic pressure, everything will be there. But please remember, we need to have a balance for everything. And everything, every aspect of life is a spectrum. And we need to understand where the balance is for each of the aspect of the life. I hope you're understanding what I am saying. So at the end of each day, ask yourself whether you enjoyed this day or not. If you're not enjoyed this day, do something so that you remember that day. Develop that habit. You have the time during these 2 years, you may not have after that. Enjoy, sit back, relax. I once again promise you that we will deliver the best. And if we are not delivering the best as per your expectations, we have processes and systems to capture your feedback. So do not hesitate to express yourself. Do not hesitate to give your feedback. Wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your encouraging and inspiring words. Sir told us a lot about the importance of time, of how we should balance things, and how the institute has the best to offer. And only if we seize the opportunity, we can get the best out of it. So that is a message to all the students to take all the opportunities that are provided to you very seriously. So thank you, sir, for emphasizing that importance to our students. I'm sure everyone is delighted to hear from you, sir. So thank you, sir. Moving forward, I now, let's move forward. We would like to felicitate our guests formally. Mali sir, Madhuri ma'am, and Raji sir, may we please request you to come forward for guest felicitation. First, we have our chief guest, President of Global Human Resources and Co-Lead Business Transformation Office, Lupin Global, Mr. Yashwant Padik. Yashwant sir, we request you to stay back for the felicitation. Our guest of honor, Vice President, Enterprises and Global Capability Centers, CAST Software, Mr. Akhil Minocha.
Next, we have Chief Financial Officer, Evonik India Private Limited, Ms. Chaitali Talele. May I now request all the dignitaries to pose for a group picture?
We request the dignitaries to please take their seats. Thank you, sir.
Moving forward with our first session, it is with great pleasure that I introduce to you with our chief guest, our keynote speaker for today. Sir is the President of Global Human Resource and Co-Lead Business Transformation Office, a mentor, coach, wildlife photographer, horticulturist, farmer, and an expert at creating value via business and HR transformation.
Sir is a seasoned global HR professional with more than 30 years of experience in top-notch multinational corporations. His expertise is diverse and varies across industries and sectors like technology, consumer, and healthcare, and geographies such as India, UK, Japan, Asian, and Europe.
Sir's strength and areas of expertise include strategy, HR business transformation, leadership development, organization and cultural building, capability building, workforce design, planning, talent management and succession planning, merger and acquisition, and executive coaching.
Sir has led and is leading in global transformation programs and initiatives in Johnson & Johnson, Philips, Sun Pharma and Lupin at the enterprise level. He is recognized among the top 50 most powerful HR professionals coming from India and is a leading HR thought leader who has worked in association with leading academicians in USA for conceptualizing and executing global strategic initiatives in the area of human resource management.
Sir has a very high social orientation and believes in sharing his earning and time with social development causes related to education for the underprivileged. Please join me in welcoming and celebrating the extraordinary leadership of Mr. Yashwant Mahadik.
I would now request Sir to take over. Thank you.
It's okay, I'll take this. Okay, you want to give it? So then I'll be able to walk also if I have this. So, thank you very much, Dr. Mali, Mr. Raji and Ms. Madhuri. Thank you very much for inviting me here. And I was telling them, you see, I started my career in the year 1989, okay? And when I started my career in 1989, all the educational institutions were beginning to flourish, and most of them in Pune. That was the time of symbiosis, when I started. They, symbiosis, I think, started in 82 or 83, and then by 89, they were finding ground. I think what I understand from Dr. Tarita was Indira Group initiated in 1994, right? But it was only, I think, around 2004, 2005 when the MBA and all that started the business. And so many came up in Pune. I remember, there used to be, ISBM, Pramod Kumar, then Balaji, and Pune had become a hub of the growing MBA, institutes. And when we had passed out, that time there were handful MBA institutes, even the IIMs were only 4, okay. There was XLRI, which was kind of new. And when all this started coming up, I felt very happy because I knew that there's a bottleneck in our education system. And I think without calling it a private-public partnership, the private players, educationists who truly believed in bringing quality education to the youth, which was not getting into those colleges, was a phenomenal step. Phenomenal step, okay. And as a result of that, today all of you are here. So first of all, my hearty congratulations to this batch and on your induction, on your initiation, as they say. You see, what my keynote and advice to you is going to be is around what does it take to make a career. Now, I'm not going to give you any advice on what you should do while you are here in this MBA institute for 2 years. For that, you have very able people to guide you, coach you, teach you. But I'm going to talk about things which help make a career or break a career. The first thing that I often say is don't forget, not just an organization, any sector, any organization, any society, it's a pyramid. It's a pyramid. Human beings aspire to be at the top of the pyramid. But don't forget, when you say it's a pyramid, only 2% of the entire population reaches the top. Be it any field. Be it any field. This is reality. Now, what does it take to be amongst that 2% if you want to get there? how will you manage your life if you don't get there? Because there is the middle of the pyramid also, and then there is the bottom of the pyramid also. Like, I'll give you an example. In United States, in Europe, where I have worked significantly over my entire career, lived and worked, I observed and noticed for the first time that there is something known as a career salesman. So there are salesmen who decide and choose to remain a career salesman throughout their life. And they work in that field, they excel in that field, and it has no correlation with the money they make, because most of them make money 3 times or 4 times than what their sales director would make. And this is in automobiles, this is in pharma, this is in consumer, anything. When I compare that with India, because India have significant work experience, having recruited thousands and thousands of people and managed lakhs of people at least in the sales organization cumulatively, I have seen in India the unique distinction is 100% of the salesmen want to become a sales director or a head of sales. Indians by nature aspire to go up the pyramid, all of them. Okay? And if you ask me, there's nothing wrong in that. Just because I'm comparing it with America or Europe, doesn't mean that this is wrong. No, you got to be aware of this. And the reason I'm making you aware of this, because I have explained to you what a pyramid is, right? And that's why often I say, or it is said, that life or a career is not a contest in longevity. No. It's a quality contest. It's the quality of life you have lived, and it's the quality of a career that you have made for yourself. It's not longevity. First, get that right. When you get that fundamental right, you will start to actually framing in your mind, what is it that I want to do? Now, let's come to what is it that it takes to go to the top of the pyramid. I have seen some of the brightest people from IITs, IIMs, Harvard, Kellogg, Wharton, who started as colleagues with me, fall off by the wayside, somewhere in the middle of the pyramid, and just disappeared from the career scenes. So it had nothing to do with their intelligence. They were super solid intelligent. You know what was the difference? It's the attitude. After you pass out your MBA, and this feels like, so Arnabi, my colleague, and Sarah, some of my colleagues are here. I was sharing with them even yesterday. So my son actually, after a successful career of 6 years, decided to pursue his full-time MBA, okay? And he got a very good GMAT, so he got, I think, something like a 770 or whatever. And with a 6.5 years great career behind him in BCG and Philips and Deloitte, he was accepted in some of the, in fact, 3 out of the top 5 in the US accepted him. But he chose NYU Stern, okay, because he said that, Dad, this is what I've chosen for 2 reasons. Because he's a consulting guy, and he's a consultant in the financial services, and NYU Stern is absolutely top notch for that. And second is because my father, his grandfather, was an MBA from NYU Stern in 1955-56. And that time it was not even NYU Stern, it was known as New York University MBA. So Leonard Stern, after who the school is named, and my dad were classmates and friends. And they both started their careers in, financial services. And of course, later on, after my father and Stern retired, Stern donated a large part of his wealth to the school, and he made my father the trustee to manage it and name it, And then they both did it. And of course, about a few years ago, they both passed off peacefully and are now beyond the rainbow bridge, as they say. Now, why am I telling you this? Why you choose an MBA institute and why you go there is also an emotional attachment, which I think Dr. Mali mentioned. It's not just you who have come here, it's your parent. That is another thing that happens with us as Indians. Our entire family is involved in our career. Entire family. Okay? Your mother, father, elder sister, even younger sister is involved. Everyone will have advice to give to you and everyone will have expectations. When you get a life partner, when you get married, wife gets added. Correct? But the sister doesn't drop off, she continues. Or the brother doesn't drop off, it continues. And that's the beauty of the Indian society. Not everyone is privileged to have that, some are not so lucky. So be it. But this is, I'm generalizing. So there are societal pressures, there are family pressures. And they make us behave and act very, very differently, which has a bearing on the way you work in an organization. So with this as a context, let me tell you what makes people fall off by the wayside when they are growing and making a career. I said it's the attitude, absolutely, but what attitude? I'll give you some examples. I have often believed anything as a trait about a human being that cannot be bottled, such as, you can't bottle a person's energy. Bottle matlab bottle mein dal ke, tight band karke. You can't bottle it. You can't bottle a person's passion. You can't bottle a person's intelligence. You can't bottle a person's integrity. Right? These are some of the examples I have given. Because if you could bottle it, you could sell it. But you can't bottle it. Anything that cannot be bottled, which is valuable about a human being, is what defines character and attitude. And it is often an exhibition in your behaviors. Now I'll give you a few examples. The first one is your ability to have maturity. And what is maturity? Maturity is control over your emotions. Log bolte hain na ki, oh, I expect you to be very mature. What do you mean by that? When you don't understand something, make sure you understand it. What people say that we expect you to be more mature is they expect you to have more control over your emotions. Okay? And the only way to get control over your emotions is by exercising the freedom of choice in making the decisions. So I'll give you one example. Now when I was growing up, and there's to be, as I said, a lot of us who started our careers together, and some of these people were brighter than me or more intelligent than me. But why would they drop off? And why some of us continued and made it there, that we believe we made it. I'll give you an example. I used to see people being very impatient, being very insensitive at a very young age. So, not listening attentively to someone, not respecting someone's point of view. You understand? Just these two things. Ridiculing someone, making fun and jokes of people. Let me tell you, that may have happened in your childhood friends group. This is a no-no starting today in this institute and especially in your careers. You cannot do that. You cannot ridicule a human being. You cannot disrespect a human being. You do that, you're not cut out for corporate. I guarantee you, you will fall off the wayside. People with tremendous respect as a value, that is, respect and care. We also have that as a value, which is a very important value in Lupin. If you do not have respect and care for people, you will not grow up in this organization. Clear. And it's there in most organizations, right? Now, how do you start preparing to respect and care for people? Let me tell you, there is no MBA class that's going to be run. And even if it was to be run, I'm not sure, what they will teach in it. So where do you learn that from? You learn that yourself by first assessing yourself. Do I respect people enough? Or am I one of those trashy guys who's always ridiculing people, backbiting people? Am I that? If you find the answer is second, start reforming yourself today. Number one. Okay? It's all about people. It's all about people. Extending that, what is the control over your emotion? You see, you can be firm with people, no issues. But you cannot get angry because that is disrespectful. You cannot dress down somebody because that is being disrespectful. You cannot walk out of a commitment that you have made. That is unprofessional. It's things like these. And the reason I'm telling you this is you will have an MBA degree like those guys from IIM Ahmedabad, but if you don't have this, God help. Second, and I've often said this, if anyone was to hold my feet to fire, I'll never compromise with this value of mine at least. And that is zero tolerance for politics in a workplace. Workplace politics is a reality. You don't have to learn how to play it. You probably may have to learn how to navigate it. But there's one thing that you have to do. You don't have to learn, is decide to stay out of it and not play it. Simple. Again, majority of the guys that I saw fall off by the wayside in their middle management careers are people who are often trying to put a foot on someone else, are backbiting other people, trying to show their importance to us. Because let me tell you, whatever you speak in an organization, even confidentially to someone, gets known in 7 days to at least 10 more people. And within the 7th day, it gets known to the person that you have talked about. It's a fact of life. You can test this. And that is politics, right? So I'm giving you very basic but very important and strategic nuggets, This is the same talk that I delivered last year at the initiation of Tata Institute of Social Sciences in Mumbai. Okay. Same. Because Mr. Parmeshwaran, who used to be the dean there, was a very close friend of mine, and he told me, he says, Yashwant, HR तो आप इनको lectures में सिखा देना, but initiation में please talk about the character building of a professional. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how to build a profile. Then let me also bring in a few more important things, which are very, very important, that you can start developing from tomorrow. Leaders who can communicate very effectively are the ones who will go up in the organization, because the entire organization, including the top governance, like leaders who communicate well. And what is good communication? Good communication is not about being eloquent alone. Well, being eloquent helps. It's what's the structure of your message? How good is your content? When you are making a presentation, whether to 600 people like this or to 10 people in a conference room, your ability to read the room, your ability to be able to deliver the message without all the time using a PowerPoint as a crutch. Using PowerPoint is not bad, you should do it, especially when showing data and all that. But when you want to communicate on topics like the topic that we have today, and to be able to connect and pass on the message, it has to be an emotional connect. The moment you bring in some other medium, you're diluting yourself as the medium. These things can be learned, and start learning them from tomorrow. You will get those opportunities. But very important trait, a leader with a weak communication often gets shortchanged and will not come up in the pyramid unless he or she is an individual contributor role. And there are far and few individual contributing roles in organizations, we know. Work towards that. Let me tell you, there are many people who will, now it's changed, of course. About 10-15 years ago, Dr. Mali, when we used to interview at IIMs and, ISB, etc., to recruit our MBAs, this 15 years ago, about 1.5 decade ago, the students, when you used to ask them that, what kind of a role do you want, they used to say, I want a very strategic role. I want a very strategy, because that strategy and everything had become, because वो कोई सिखा देता है उनको आके MBA institute में कि be very strategic, देखो strategic होना बहुत जरूरी है, and you should land up in a strategic role, don't do anything operational. Let me tell you, if you don't understand the operations, you will never be strategic about it. And what is being strategic? Strategic planning or strategic insights, they're two different things. Strategic planning is an activity which is very operational. But having the vision, having the strategic insights on something, whether it's to grow a market share or to grow people or to enter a new market or to design a go-to-market strategy, those things will come to you with only solid operational experience. And without having that, you want to land up in a strategic role? A lot of us, I curate a CHRO group of India, which is all the top 100 CHROs are there. And I've created a WhatsApp group. All of them are there. All of them. And the reason we have not kept any consultant or any, because we only talk day-to-day topics on that. Okay? Or anything like, it's raining heavily in Mumbai, are you going to keep the office shut or running? As tactical as that, to discussing this issue, that are you not facing an issue at the MBA schools because these guys are being misguided? Then all of us as CHROs, in fact a small group we created, and via SHRM, we interacted with the faculties of all the IIMs and XLRI and ISB, and we gave them that feedback that don't teach this to your students if you are. Then we, during our guest lectures, interacted with the students and gave them this message. It has taken a decade and a half to take that syndrome off. Today, it's very pleasing. Whenever, just 2 months ago, we were interviewing and we recruited, I think, 12 people from IIMs this year. So when I was interviewing, not a single person asked for a strategic role. They said that, boss, I want to get into a role which will help me become what I want to become. Okay, what do you want to become? Oh, I want to become a master and a center of expertise in supply chain management. Fantastic. We have a role for you. Welcome. Same thing, the other person. Boss, I don't know what kind of a role I want, but I know I want a role where I want to learn how sales management is done from the scratch. Fabulous. Welcome. We have a role for you. These IIT IIM guys, they're going to go up in their career, but that attitude is what gets them hired. In fact, I'm very seriously thinking, Akhil, of which I am talking to the CHRO group also and Arnabi, we should do this. We owe this to the student community, and especially after almost 35, 36 years of a career, which I believe I should give back, is create snippets like this and share it freely with students, How to think, how to prepare for an interview. I mean, people are not taught how to prepare for a performance appraisal. And they mess it up in their first, second performance appraisals. जहाँ कर लेते हैं boss से. Well, the philosophy and principle of life is never ever argue, contest, or have a fight with your boss about your performance rating. Because it has been thought through. Yes, I'm not saying don't have a say on it. Have a say on it. But don't argue. Because it has been thought through, and that's why it's coming. By arguing, and what you're doing is you're creating a bigger daldal for yourself. But ये कोई सिखाता ही नहीं है. And I truly feel we are responsible for that. These are things that need to be taught, coached, and shared, and these are simple things. Like I'll tell you, I have not used a PowerPoint presentation today. Okay, and now I'm coming to the next point, and this is the third last. Is what is your ability to learn? What is your style of learning? My question is to you. You don't have to answer it right now. Answer it by this evening to yourself. Have you ever assessed what's your style of learning and how do you learn best? There are some people who learn best by reading. There are some people who learn best by having interactions with people and discussion and dialogue. There are some people who learn best by watching videos. Means watching videos related to the topic of learning, not YouTube videos. Whatever is related, learn. So, you got to figure out how do you learn the best. Problem is not many of us get in touch with ourselves to even assess and find out how do I learn best. First figure out how do you learn best. Sometimes it's blended. Most of the time it's blended. You learn from everything, but you got to find out what's your predominant style of learning. Okay? Because the environment in which you will be thrown in the corporate world is exponential learning. Do you know what is exponential learning? So exponential learning is something that Peter Diamandis, brought in with the Singularity University, and I was fortunate enough to be an early part of it. It's breakthrough, okay? So I think a decade ago, Peter Diamandis started this because he was in conversation with Silicon Valley CEOs, and they were finding that the executive education that Harvard, Kellogg, Wharton, all of them that were offering to students or mid-career professionals was not matching the tech industry. Because the tech was all about the unknown. Okay, and all these programs, the case studies, everything is taught on what has happened in the past. Okay, so the structuring is for the past. Whereas they were looking at something where the structuring and thinking is for the unknown. Okay, so what they did was, what Peter Diamandis and these guys, what they did, they formed this Singularity University in the Valley and discovered, so there were a few retired McKinsey folks, and Peter himself is a authority, right, and a fabulous mind. They said what we need to do, and that's how we got in with them as one of the batch that I created and we took there. So what exponential learning is, I'll tell you. We would take a batch of 20 of our top-notch, high-performing, high-potential executives who had potential to grow at least 2-3 levels beyond what they were in. And we would take them to Africa. Okay? We'd take them to Africa and Kenya. And we say that, look, welcome to Kenya. Let's enjoy our wine and our dinner tonight. But from tomorrow onwards, we are going to go and see the water crisis of Kenya. You have 2 days to understand the water crisis of Kenya. And then we will come back in a bush camp, where in 3 days you have to find a solution to eliminate the water crisis of Kenya. They would learn and do that. Actually, they used to come up with a solution to solve the water crisis of Kenya. We used to make them talk to the Kenyan government, implement it. And after that, then you bring them back to your organization and say, whatever you learned now, apply it to develop new products for Google, Microsoft, wherever they came from. This is exponential learning. And that's how learning happens in organizations. But if you are going to go with your own style of learning, how are you going to do it? Last. And with that, I have much more, but I have to also manage time because I have to go back to Mumbai. Okay. You don't have to do it right now, but what is your detox? What is your detox? Like, what is your learning style? You have to figure out what is your detox. And many people say, no, it's health. And, and which is fantastic in today's youth. They don't drink, at least the sensible ones. They don't want to drink, they don't smoke. It's incredible. Okay, I have 2 young kids, my son is 32 and my daughter is 28, 29. And they used to in their college time, but today you look, if I pick up a drink, he'll tell me, he says, Dad, why are you doing it? Your recovery will be it'll be affected tomorrow. Why are you having a drink? You see, what's your detox? It's not just health alone. Your health has to stay there. You have to figure out what's your detox. Like, I'll tell you, because as you keep going up, and that's where I've seen after we reach the top, why many people fall off. वो टॉप पहुंच तो जाते हैं, but 2-3 साल में gone. This is one thing I learned quite early on because I saw people falling. I said, having come here, we don't have to fall off now, learn. It's unimaginable, unexplainable pressure that you have. You see, as you grow up in a career, pressures on you are not going to go down. They're only going to increase. Okay? Despite all the money that you earn and all the Rolexes that you'll buy and everything, the stress and pressure is only going to increase. How do you manage that? And don't think that health is the simplest answer to it. I'll tell you, you got to find out what's your hobby and passion outside your work. I share this with that's how I started photography. Okay, and of course not now. I started it in 2012 because I realized I need a detox, and that time I was like, for 2 years I had lived a life where 1 week I used to be in Tokyo, 1 week in Singapore, 1 week in New Jersey, and 1 week in Mumbai. 2 years I did that. And jet engine takes a toll on your health, if anyone knows that. Of course, even today I travel, but not like this. Today, my US visits are 1.5 months once, right? So I get some time to recover for my jet lag. But you can see if you wear a Whoop and if you wear an Apple Watch and a combination of that, how a jet engine travel takes a toll on you, irrespective of the business class and first class that we fly. It takes a toll on you. So what is it that you need to do? I said, Yash, if you have to survive, boss, kuch different karna padega. You need to have the me time. I got into photography. I bought my first DSLR and the digital cameras had just come in 2010. So 2012, I bought my first Nikon 3000. And it started. And I started enjoying it. Then I found my place. I said my genre is wildlife. Because you see, that's the most challenging genre in photography, right? Because you don't control the subject, background, foreground, light, nothing. And photography is all about light, subject, background, foreground. Did it. And I was so pleased and glad that my photography became another skill and competency. And once I held an exhibition at some people held an exhibition of my this thing at Worli at that, art center. All my photographs were sold for an unimaginable sum of money. If I was to make that my career today, I can earn more than my this thing, if I was to make photograph, because I'm a wildlife photographer. But whatever you do, you have to do with the passion. But when I used to do photography, even today, when I step in the forest, when I step in the jungle, I'm a transformed man. That is my detox. My farming is my detox. And I'm a new farmer, because that now photography is not alone. Kuch chahiye, right? You're a hyper guy. So I started farming 3 years ago, and now I enrolled myself in the Dapoli Agriculture University, learning how to grow the right plants in laterite-based soils. Nobody would have imagined Yash will go into an agriculture college to get a degree. But it's not about I'm not going to teach agriculture to it. It's for me. That's my detox. Because I do that 5% of my time, I am effective 95% of my time. It's known as sharpen the saw activity. So, Stephen Covey says, right? Effective people will take time to sharpen the saw. If you sharpen the saw, you'll cut the wood faster. Ineffective people will never sharpen their saw, and they'll keep cutting. They'll get tired, they'll wither away. With that, I want to close. There were 4 other things that I wanted to tell you, but we have to be respectful of time, right? And the last thing, how do you build? In our times when we were growing up, there was no LinkedIn. There were no blogs, okay, which I could access as to how the other leaders think. We were limited to the books that were published. Today you have such fantastic open source learning, such fantastic networking opportunities available on LinkedIn. I mean, I'll give you an example, okay? Go and follow the right people, see what they write, what they're doing. That itself will open up your mind. Another example, say after, Akhil's speech today, which I'm going to be is great. You want to connect, 600 people can't connect. If I were you, and what I used to be, I will hound Akhil on LinkedIn till he responds to me. Try it, doesn't matter. But that's how you build your network. That's how you build. But you have to make an effort for that. Read, follow people's blogs. Create a blog of your own. Start writing. Writing and sharing your blog is one of the best ways of learning. That's why I blog. I haven't blogged for 1.5 years, but I'll write one after this. So connect, stay connected. I want to wish you the best, okay? Let's see, we will do 1 more or 2 more sessions, throughout the year, because I keep coming to Pune. We have a large R&D center and a biotech unit here. So I keep coming to Pune almost once a quarter, but we'll stay in touch. Look, if I've read the room well, you guys are bright. I think I have been able to share. I'm not here to teach you anything, as I said. I shared with you what works, what doesn't work. In conclusion, I would say there's a myth about a swan. तो हंस होता है ना, उसके बारे में एक myth है कि आप उसे दूध और पानी मिला के दे दो तो वो दूध पी जाता है और पानी छोड़ देता है, right? Be like a swan. When you are attending a classroom, when you're listening to my lecture or speech, when you're watching a movie, when you're reading a book, be like a swan. Decide what's important for you and what's relevant for you and pick it up as milk. Leave the water. Don't try to drink from the hose. You will not be able to do that. So be a swan when it comes to learning. And the reason I say it's a myth is because I know about wildlife and birds and all. I have a deep research in it. वो swan ऐसा करता नहीं है, by the way. It's a myth. So don't try to experiment with that. कल एक swan को पकड़ के दूध और पानी मिला के and keep waiting कि ये करता है कि नहीं करता है. Don't do that. Don't try it. You will be disappointed. But it's a myth, and वो story बताई जाती थी अपने को, right? Since our childhood. Do that, guys. I see tremendous energy, expectations on every face that I see here, and some of it I can't see very clearly. But all the best, guys. Do well, and I'm sure you will succeed and you will shine. You will. Best wishes. Thank you.
So,
Let me take one selfie. Let me take one selfie like this with. So I'll put this on. Come. Anyone seen smiling in this selfie will get an offer from Lupin. But I have said it too late, right? So let's try it again. Anyone seen smiling and with a thumbs up will get an offer from Lupin.
smiling from this side.
No, I'm kidding. I'm sure you will, but such a pleasure. Best wishes. We'll stay in touch.
So now we open the house for Q&A. I request audience having questions to raise their hands. Our volunteers will be right there with the mic. Right there.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for such wonderful session, sir. I really hope that it will be really beneficial for all of us in the future. Sir, I am Gopesh Chaudhary.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, recently in your article in People's Matters about your session, about the session on why aren't there more CHROs on board, where you mentioned that HR having a seat on the board is outdated, but the main focus should be on the values that they bring in on the board, which is important. So please enlighten us on how we can create a culture where the people take ownership and add to the value to the company.
Yeah, so this was a fantastic session. I think that's where Rajiv was there. So this was, it was a People Matters conference where I was giving the keynote address. You see, ये गलत प्रश्न है ना? Why? You see, I'll tell you, this debate, does HR have a seat at the table? This was a 25-year-old question. It was resolved by us, people like us, 15 years ago. If someone is still asking that question, means that person is not worthy being on the table. So same way was this question, why enough HR? I said you have to understand the construct of the board in India. The boards in India are financial statutory governance driven. Look at the legislation. You need to have an audit committee member who will look at the audit. You know, it is all statutory in nature, which is around financial governance. Now, why are you unnecessarily I said, be the HR person who's on the management board of the company, like I am, like most of our CHRO friends are, and make a difference there to people's career and all. Create value in the company. Us statutory board pe, you know, it's like asking a question why enough HR people after retiring are not contesting MLA elections. संबंध क्या है? जिस शहर जाना नहीं है उसका रास्ता क्यों पूछो यार? It was that. So I had said it in that context and it was well received because that's you see, be focused on what you want to do. Why do you ask yourself or put pressure on the community ki, you know, you should become a board member? After retirement, also I said in that after retirement, Emma Ravichandran was number one, but there's so many. After retirement, there's so many HR people who go on the boards as independent members because then they head the NRC committee or something like that. So that will happen. And second thing I had said was, there is a lot of work that happens on company. So, you know, the guy asked, कि नहीं, अपनी company का नहीं, दूसरे company के board पे. अरे, I said, अपनी company का पहले काम कर लो यार, उसमें दूसरे company के board पे जाके क्या करोगे तुम? Finish. Don't be very focused in what you want to do in life. And you will succeed. So that is what I meant, and thank you for asking that again. You know, I hope it's clear. Yeah.
So thank you so much. Sir.
Thank you.
One more question. Okay, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for a very informative session. My name is Asmita, and I have a question for you, sir. As we are reading a lot about coffee badging happening in workplaces, so where employees come late and leave early, basically have coffee and leave back. So I wanted to understand how HR fraternity is tackling with this thing, like how they are responding to coffee badging happening at workplace.
What is the word she used?
Coffee badging,
Coffee badging. Oh.
mostly.
So, you know, it's a nice terminology given to indiscipline. Okay, basically, any workplace has a work ethic, right? Like any home has a work ethic or a home ethic, same way any workplace has a work ethic. Great organizations and fantastic companies, all those that I have worked for, truly blessed. You know, I've worked for the absolute best organizations in the world and in India, including Lupin that I'm working. They're principle driven, the policies are very clear, they're communicated with all, they're understood by all, and when you agree and sign up to it, you are working in the company, okay? Now, if you don't agree with it, you can go and work elsewhere. Like for example, I'll tell you, Lupin in India, we recently went back like TCS and others, 5 days work from office. We came back successfully. And we said that, look, it's not that we don't believe in giving people flexibility, or you always have that. If your mother is not well or if your child is not well, you can stay back home that time. We have that in a policy. But if you want to come only 3 days in office and 2 days you want to stay home, then you're telling us you want to work part-time. Then move to a part-time contract on a part-time salary. Are you okay with that? No. I want full-time salary. Then come full-time, na? The reason is because you see, workplace is designed not only to fill it up, is designed to make work happen in a very collaborative manner. You lose that. It is practically impossible to induct a new person by a leader who is not present in the workplace. It is practically impossible by a leader to coach, grow a group of people without having them in the... We know this. Everyone knew. Nobody was calling it out. Till the Tatas and, you know, some of us, we called it out. We said, no, you have to come back here. Okay? So, and anyone we said who doesn't believe in this, aap jaiye. We have no issues. So as an organization, if you're clear, okay, and you have recruited the right people, they will not do this badging at all. Hote hi nahi hai. This happens in organizations and places where principles are not clear, values are not clear, policies are not defined properly and shared, exceptions are being made for others. That is where this happens. That is nothing but a indiscipline and a toxic work culture. Okay? Good organizations will never have it. Never ever have it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
First of all, we would like to thank sir for such an insightful session and such a knowledgeable session. I am sure everyone was really benefited by it. Sir touched upon various aspects on not just how to make a career, but how to make a profile for yourself, how to sustain in the corporate in the longer time. And apart from that, he also focused on your own well-being by focusing on points of detox, which is very necessary. So I would like to thank sir for that. And thank you, sir, for spending your valuable timing with us and giving us such important knowledge, and we would love to have you here again. Yeah. Thank you, sir, once again. Thank you, sir. Requesting everyone to settle down. Moving forward, it is my pleasure to introduce our guest of honor to the audience, an esteemed professional with over 2 decades of leadership experience. Sir has grown revenue across sectors like software products, SaaS, technology, and telecom. Sir specializes in helping enterprises on their digital transformation journey through application modernization and cloud optimization. Sir's strength lies in a customer-centric approach, adept relationship management, and team leadership. Sir is also an active speaker, author, podcaster, and startup advisor.
Sir has worked in leadership roles at Cast Software, TI Delhi NCR, Persistent Systems, HCL Infosystems Limited, Intel Corporation, Videocon Telecom, Reliance Infocom, Goldstone Technologies, to name a few. An experience spanning over 2 decades. So please welcome the Vice President, Enterprise and Global Capability Centers at Cast Software, Mr. Akhil Minosha. Over to you, sir.
Can we start or do we? Yeah, sure. Whatever you like. Whatever, please. At the outset, I would like to thank Indira School of Business Studies, everybody, Dr. Mani, Madhuri ma'am, Mr. Raji Thomas, for welcoming me, for inviting me for this session today. Thank you so much. Before I move into the presentation and a few slides that I put together, I decided to cover a few points which Mr. Yashwant Mahadik spoke about, because I resonated with some of the pointers that he said, and it'll be interesting to resonate and speak about some of these pointers. The first is Dr. Pandit Mali spoke about, and even Mr. Yashwant Mahadik spoke about evolution and learning. Right. So, Dr. Mani, you very rightly said that these 2 years are going to be very critical for you. This is your, an important part of your life's 2 years on what you're going to be investing in. But the difference is, and the difference from the time that I graduated my MBA or Mr. Yashwant would have, graduated his academic qualifications, that we are today at a stage where there are both positives and negatives, right? The positives are we are living in an era of social media. We spoke about LinkedIn and Twitter or X and everything else, but with that there is also the issue of really being marginalized as you move along the ladder, and marginalized if you don't keep pace with your learning. So from that aspect, there is an evolution of being a continuous learner. And that's exactly what you're stepping up into. I'm going to keep some of these snippets brief and we can revisit it through my conversation, but I just wanted to kind of bring it up initially. The second, which Dr. Yashwant Mahadik brought about, was about attitude, and I would like to speak about attitude, right? We mentioned about students from Wharton and IIM sometimes not having the right attitude, though most of them do, a few may not be. Now that you're passing out, or you're starting, and in 2 years you're going to be graduating from an MBA institute, it's very important that as you scale up ladders in an organization, your attitude remains intact. I'm honored and privileged to be in the same dais as Mr. Yashwant. He's got so much of experience, far more experience than I have. But you see how humble he is, not once, but several times he told me that, Akhil, I'm sorry, I have to leave. Right, I'll be in touch with you. I'll take in your number. He made me feel so comfortable, right? And that's what an attitude is, a good attitude is. I will take another example, two examples where I've rejected IIM students, right? One was from IIM Ahmedabad, the other one was from IIM Lucknow. One was, I used to work for a company much earlier called Goldstone Technologies. This was around 2001. And I was looking at hiring someone for a skill set, and I was interviewing him, and I asked him a question on sales and marketing, and he looked into my eyes and he says, I am Kotler. So I was like, excuse me, what did you just say? He says, Kotler, I am Kotler. Now he wanted to show his depth of knowledge, but he came out very arrogant, right? Another example I'll take, my previous job, Persistent Systems. I used to head the software product business for Persistent for Asia Pacific. And I was looking at a sales resource. And my colleague, who later became the CTO of Persistent, Venki, so he told me, Akhil, I have an IIM Ahmedabad grad. He's very good. Why don't you interview him? And this is our regular batch of management interns that we've taken. And good experience interns. He's got about 10 years of experience. Why don't you interview him? I went, I was based out of Delhi. I'd come to Pune. So he said, okay, let's meet in this particular conference room at this facility at Persistent. When I entered the conference room, he was already seated. He says, yes, come, please sit. So I came to the room and I sat down, and it was a reverse interview. He says, why should I join you? Right? And the reason why I came back and I told my colleague Venki, I said, I am not going to hire him because the first thing that I require is good attitude. Let me speak about a gentleman whom you would resonate with, and a person from the industry, Azim Premji. All of you know who Azim Premji is. And my few minutes of interaction with Azim Premji, which have left a very deep impact in my mind. So I was with this company called Airtel. All of you know Airtel. And we were doing a joint go-to-market memorandum of understanding with Wipro. And we were at their Bangalore campus. And this was during lunchtime. So I was standing in the line, and Mr. Azim Premji was ahead of me. He looked at me and he left the line and gave me a plate. And he says, you first. So I said, no, sir, please, why don't you go ahead? It's you first. He says, no, you are our customer today. You are a partner. You are a guest today. So there's no ways that I will eat before you. So you see the attitude, right? I hadn't thought any of these pointers, but I've resonated so much with it, I thought, let me mention some of these. The fourth is my conversation yesterday with Faizan. Faizan escorted me from the airport out here. Faizan, you're there somewhere? And don't worry, I'm not going to say anything which makes you feel uncomfortable. We would have probably discussed a few, things which may make you feel uncomfortable. I'm going to talk about the comfortable things. So Faizan, shared with me. I had asked him a simple question in terms of what would students really like? What do you want to hear? What's your induction? He told me about your streams, core marketing and the dual specialization and the core finance, right? And he said that students, and he told me that he wants to get into social media marketing and direct marketing, right? And he says students would like to learn something which they resonate with and which is of use to them. So I would have planned probably something else in my mind. I came back and this morning I put together a few slides with the paucity of time. I'll see whatever I can cover. But you can feel free to kind of connect with me later. But the point I was making out here is adapting to change, being nimble and flexible. When you move into the industry, you will have times like these where you'll have to be nimble and flexible and making it relevant for your customer, relevant for your audience. And by the way, I may be in a sales product leadership role. I've been in P&L roles. I've been in delivery. But at the end of the day, no matter which function you are in, a business is running today because you are responding to the customer. So that's very important. The fifth point I would like to speak about, detox, right? Which again, Mr. Yashwant spoke about. Very true, and it'll come up in the next few slides. Each one of us definitely needs a detox. With that, I'll move forward, and I'll quickly cover these slides just to kind of set you thinking. Not much information on the slide, but it's just on any of these slides, but it's just to kind of set us thinking. So let's move forward. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Your friends have given an introduction, right? So yes, I'll skip over what you already know. So yes, I've got 20 years of experience in driving revenue and software products and services, SaaS, technology, and telecommunication. I started my career in telecommunication. In fact, I started my career in a non-IT field and jumped into telecom and then into telecommunications, right? Varied roles. I've been in persistent systems, Intel Corporation, HCL, Airtel, right, in varied roles. Moving forward, presently I'm at Cast Software as the Vice President for Enterprises and Global Capability Centers. Yes, now that comes on the point of the detox, right? So apart from my work, I like to speak, I like to write, right? I attend industry, forums, and I'm also a podcaster. That's the detox, right? So I started it a couple of years back. I started a podcast called Reverse and Onward, and that reached number 3 on the Apple Podcasts charts. This year I started a tech podcast called The Tech Decode along with a colleague. And that really simplifies a lot of technology jargons, right? So you see some of, if you are familiar or if you follow social media, you'll probably find me very often on the social media. Moving forward a little bit more, right? So I share insights on technology, inspirations. I write a fair bit. I'm a charter member at TIE Delhi NCR. So that's an industry body, basically to connect with the enterprise and the small and medium businesses, entrepreneurial businesses. I have been recognized recently, about a year back, as a distinguished alumni of the KIT School of Management. And that brings me to to the question about or the point about continuous learning. So I did an executive program in digital transformation a couple of years back from IIM Lucknow, and I continue to learn. I am pursuing an executive course at Wharton, on artificial intelligence and generative AI. You have to, the stage that you're entering into, you've got to be a lifelong learner, right? And I'm a diehard foodie, so I've got to balance that. And probably the streak in fitness is because I'm a diehard foodie and I put on a lot of weight at some point of time, and I kind of had a reversal journey of sorts, right? And that was my inspiration to do a podcast. I first thought I'll write a book, but the book took a back seat and I decided to do a podcast first. So do hear me. There are 12 episodes which are audio, 13th is a video, and now I've jumped into video even in the tech podcast. And I have been featured in some other podcast interviews also. Some of them are mentioned here. There are a few more where people and entities have approached me on being on their podcast. So moving forward, I would like to just take a couple of minutes in your hearing this video. I hope it plays, yeah.
Challenge or the key opportunity for any organization is to be able to convert data into intelligent action. In fact, the core intellectual property of any business going forward, the core currency of any business going forward, is their data. And the way to take advantage of it, of course, is to convert it into intelligence and, more importantly, intelligent action. And to do that, you have to walk through a series of stages. In fact, there are multiple questions that need to be asked and answered. You want to be able to find out what just happened, why it happened. You want to be able to predict things that may happen.
So, in the paucity of time, we'll kind of skip it. But the point that Satya Nadella was trying to make was talk about something which really drives everything around us, right? And that is data. So data is the fulcrum of everything. And over the next 15 minutes, I'll just share some thoughts and insights which I put together this morning on data, on generative AI, on artificial intelligence, because you are all at a stage where you can't really run away from technology, and you'll need to start using technology, right? And you can't say that I'm not going to be using generative AI, or I'm not going to be bothered about AI or data if I'm in human resources, or I'm in finance, or I'm in some other specialization. It'll hit you, right? And the classical debate in terms of the fact that is AI or generative AI going to replace jobs? Yes, it would. If you don't learn to cope up with it, right? If your learning stops, then it will replace jobs. If your learning doesn't stop, it may not replace jobs. So who's this gentleman? Tim Berners-Lee, right? So he's a tech god. He's the one who invented the World Wide Web, right? The internet that we are here today. So what does he say about data? He says data is a precious thing and will last longer than the systems themselves, right? So so a few other quotes, right? You know who's the gentleman on the left, right? Who's the gentleman on the left? Yeah, so Albert Einstein, not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts. When Jeffrey Moore said, without big data analytics, companies are blind and deaf, wandering around the web like a deer on a freeway, right? And W. Edwards Deming, he said, without data, you're just another person without an opinion. So data is going to drive us, right? There has been a huge content transition from typewriters onto the World Wide Web, what you today experience, right? So we were, when we started off, we were at a stage of typewriters, and today you know what you're into. So we are into the pre-digital world, right? And the pre-digital world, because from a social media perspective, we are not static. I mean, times are still changing and evolving, right? So content has moved, if you look at it from early 2005, it's become more intensive on data-driven content. I'm going to be skipping some of these slides because if we have some more time, we'll probably have a more meaningful conversation. So current content marketing landscape, competitive content, data-driven video marketing, and personalization. So benefits of digitization or digital social media marketing compared to what was there earlier as in print media, reach, engagement, multimedia, and analytics, right? So today you see data in action. So whether you are using Netflix, whether you're using Flipkart, right? Whether you're using Airbnb, you see a lot of data in action. Today, you as a consumer is being studied. Your behavioral patterns are being studied. You are being mapped. In effect, there is no privacy today. That's a debate when I end up over a drink with my friends. That's what we discuss, that privacy today is a farce. You actually don't have privacy. But on the other side, there is a lot of user-driven content being delivered to you. If you use music platforms like Spotify, there's user-driven content which is being driven to you, right? So there's a huge content explosion. There's YouTube, there's podcast microphones, there's Instagram story interface. When I started podcasting, a friend of mine had gifted me a podcast set, a mic and everything, right? And I realized today that, you have such powerful softwares that I kind of, chucked the mic and I do my recording and I kind of remove the background noise. There's so much today you can do with data and so much that you can transpose, right? There's Twitter or X, there are vlogs, there's AR, and what's the one single factor today which is driving the spurt of data? And that's the smartphone. The smartphone in your hands is really driving data, right? Let's move from data into generative AI, right? And if you look at these 4 building blocks, I wanted to be there at a fairly broad level so that you take certain small snippets when you move out of the room today. So where does generative AI fall in? So you've got artificial intelligence, the theory and methods to build machines that think and act like humans. So artificial intelligence is literally machines replacing humans with their intelligence. Then machine learning is the ability for computers to learn from experience or data without human programming. A subset of that again is deep learning, right? Which is more related with neural networks, and then comes generative AI, where you're talking about something like pre-trained transformers, right? Or large language models, and you are basically training data to give out certain responses, right? So what is generative AI? It can create and use novel content. And I talked about generative AI as systems which are trained on large databases, and they develop patterns, and they can be used in various, right from art to music to even healthcare. There are a huge amount of uses. Content generation, language generation, personalized recommendations, healthcare diagnostics, robotic control. There are a lot of things. Generative AI will be the driving force behind the next wave of innovation, transforming how we create, communicate, and interact with technology. You know, a quote by Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google. Another quote on generative AI: it has the potential to revolutionize the industries, enhance creativity, and transform the way we interact with technology. Right? There is the other side of artificial intelligence, or generative AI, which is the ethical considerations. At a periphery or at a high level sketch, there are privacy concerns, there are biases. The response that you get could have a bias, right? There are potentials of misuse. There's a societal impact and accountability and transparency. Having said that, I'm just for your curious mind, I came across a tool, very interesting, that you generate an output of generative AI and you transpose or you plug that output into another site, right? And that tells you and gives you another content, which is a humanized content, right? And it basically hedges you on picking up content from generative AI. So if you're seeing things like this today, the options and future are tremendous. So I'll just end with a few key takeaways. We talked about the transformative power of data. We started off with data. We heard about what Satya Nadella had to say, and we moved into AI and generative AI. If you're more keen about these topics, stay glued on the Tech Decode podcast, because the next episode that I'm going to be releasing is a generative AI expert, already interviewed. So I'm not going to spend much time today. You watch that episode, all your generative AI concepts will be clear. ChatGPT and beyond, AI tools like ChatGPT are enhancing productivity, creativity, and the decision-making process. We spoke about ethics and responsibility. So generative AI or AI, gives you misleading results. So we need to be ethical as we embrace these technologies, and we need to be sure that we are fine with our results. Especially true for you MBA students. You have to use this tool or tools like these more, with not to be your slave on giving you outputs, but more as probably your team member or your thinker, which stimulates your mind. And the reason why I say that is today you'll probably have people rejecting you if they feel. So for example, you submit a thesis or you submit an article, you may be rejected if it's a generative AI output. So you got to be careful in terms of how you're using it. Looking ahead, I would just talk about two broad, principles. We spoke about the first 4 or 5 learnings which had resonated from Mr. Yashwant Mahadik. But through this conversation and through this discussion, I'll end with 2 different principles. One is continuous learning, right? And back to Mr. Mali's point, right? So these 2 years are very critical, but your learning is not going to stop. Your learning has just begun. You are creating the foundation for your learning as you're going to be building along. And to be honest with you, maybe 15 years back or 20 years back, when I was not at the stage where I am in my career, I could have still resorted to my MBA degree, right? And had whatever learning I had. Today, even at probably the far end of my career, I may have maybe 8 to 10 more years of my career left. I've got to reskill, I've got to rethink. I have to be relevant. And for you don't have the luxury like me or like Mr. Yashwant Mahadik. You've got to rethink and you've got to reinvent yourself every year. I'm not scaring you, but I'm telling you that's the truth. 2 years down the line, your MBA qualification is going to be very helpful to you. Don't get me wrong. It is the fulcrum on what you are going to be riding on. But you've got to continue to reskill yourself by job experiences, by new learnings, Coursera, Simply Learn, a lot of ways by which you can reskill, right? And the last and the ending point is embracing innovation. And innovation is not only about IT. Innovation is about a culture. Even when you enter into an organization, a new way of thinking. We talked about strategy. We talked about strategic planning, and right. So strategic planning, in a way, has kind of taken a new buzzword and a term in the industry or within an organization, and that's innovation. So innovation doesn't rest with the product teams. Innovation doesn't rest with the R&D department. Innovation is of HR, innovation is of sales, innovation is of product, innovation is of every employee in the company. So start embracing innovation as we speak today. That's all I have to say. You had some questions? Yeah, please. Yeah, sure.
Now we open for the Q&A session. I request audience having questions to raise their hands. You have someone there.
I have this, yeah. No problem.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for such an insightful session. I am Nikita Sharma. I wanted to ask one question. What are the implications of generative AI technologies like deepfakes on misconfirmations and trust in digital content?
Can you repeat that? The voice was unclear.
What are the implications of generative AI technologies like deepfakes on misconfirmations and on digital content?
Deepfakes?
Deepfakes, misinformations.
Correct. Very good question. So deepfakes, wrong content, wrong biases. So I had taken you through a slide briefly where it talks about you need to understand how generative AI is kind of built, right? So generative AI, and if you can get intensive into data, you're basically talking about something called as large language models, right? And these large language models, or another terminology called pre-trained transformers, right? These are getting fed. Now let's actually look at Alexa, which some of you would be using, right? At home, or Siri, which you use on your Apple phone, right? So over a period of time, Alexa or Siri gets to know you and starts adapting to you. And that's what generative AI does. Generative AI starts adapting to what you have, what you are, what you have to say, and the responses of generative AI over a period of time would be more accurate, right? One way to use generative AI on a tactical basis, I use generative AI all the time. So, what is called prompt engineering. Prompt engineering, though sounds technical, is a very simple ask that you give to generative AI. So don't end with one prompt engineering prompt saying that, I have to go to the market to buy vegetables. Which vegetable should I buy? Right? This could be one broad statement. You get an answer, you get into the next level saying that please bear in mind that it is winter, and can you please exclude other vegetables which are more summer. I want only winter vegetables, right? The third prompt can be, can you please concise this into bullet points, right? So I'm saying you're getting more specific about that data. So this is one aspect of it. Now deep fakes, right? And people generating different content, right? You have, you see memes today with Narendra Modi doing a dance, right? What is that? That latest dance of Toba Toba, which is kind of doing the rounds. So you'll find Narendra Modi doing Toba Toba, right? With all due regards, because there's nothing wrong with Mr. Modi, but somebody is using that data not only as a deep fake, but by using technology to kind of generate an output. And behind you've got artificial intelligence, behind you've got this. So the wrong bias the wrong results, misuse of technology for deep fakes and for others. These are some of the perils, right? So, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Do we have any other questions? Yeah.
Sure.
Very good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for your wonderful session. Myself, Nikita Agrawal, and I want to ask you one question regarding AI and workforce. So, sir, my question is, how can companies effectively leverage the AI for automation so that it does not have any negative impact on the workforce?
How do companies leverage AI for automation? Well, AI will be leveraged for automation by institutionalizing it in their processes, right? So whether it's a manufacturing company, it is a services company. One healthcare aggregator who's a customer of mine, they have used AI. So what they've done, I'm giving you a real life example. So what they've done is that you have a lot of these collaterals within the company, right? Sales collaterals, product collaterals, right? So they've taken all the case studies, all the product collaterals, all information of the company and built their own generative AI kind of bot within the company, right? And that you do an internal query. So it's not a public query, it's an internal query within the garbs of the company. I can't take the company's name because I don't know whether they have gone out with a statement. But you want a collateral, you want a specific information about something like, have we had any government orders between the year of 2003 to 2005, just as an example. And a query engine searches the database, comes out with information, right? So this can be a small example to keep people kind of intact, their jobs intact, and make it more relevant for the people to access information. But that said, we were having this conversation with some of our professors and leaders at Indira Business School in the morning today. It is so important at an organization's level that they are, kind of keeping pace with the changing technology, and they are, open to it. Otherwise, technology can always be a threat. But as long as there is learning, and as long as people are learning generative AI's skills and adapting, we don't see a threat. There'll be jobs created. There won't be so many jobs lost.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
So we would like to thank sir for sharing your wisdom with us, and we would thank you for sharing how it is very important to be technically relevant, technically updated nowadays, and I'm sure that this is the right time for our students to learn that, because we are going to step into the corporate world tomorrow. So that is very important that we learn such things. Our MBAs are going to help us a lot, yes, but learning about technology, data, analytics, ChatGPT, prompting and stuff, so that is what is actually going to help us. So thank you for shedding your light on that, and thank you for keeping the students in touch with that, and I'm sure they'll tune into your podcast for further learning about the new concepts in generative AI. I'm sure everyone will tune it into, and so thank you so much for sparing your valuable time with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will now break for lunch. We shall report back at 2 p.m. and I would request all the students to be seated until our dignitaries leave the auditorium. I would just repeat the reporting time. It's 2 p.m.
Recording stopped.